I probably pay in some form of tax 65 pence of the pound.
I mean, that's outrageous.
Why
Yeah.
do I bother?
It feels to me more like a communist country than it does a capitalist country. But how are they going to grow the economy if they just keep biting the hands that feeds them?
I think they've already had the hands, haven't they? The arms have gone, and it's starting to take a bit more of the torso the way they're going.
I was being interviewed today on a podcast and someone was talking about, rich people, they don't pay the money down the system to the poor. And I said, they do in the form of taxes, and the taxes go to the government, and then the money doesn't go down to the poor, because taxes is a way to redistribute wealth. And it just seems that so many people are over the UK, which is such a shame with all the history we have.
Yeah. It's a great country, isn't it? It really is a great country. But, there's only so much you can do. I mean, I always think the world's full of, or people are the 3 Ds. You've got the drifters, the dreamers, and the doers. And, you're always going to have people that drift through life. They don't really have a motivation. They spend everything checkbook to checkbook, or... not checkbook to checkbook, but
showing your age. Pay slip to pay slip.
Paycheck to paycheck. That's what I meant to say. And they say money doesn't buy you happiness, but that's all the while they're spending every penny they got to try and be happy. And then you've got the dreamers. Obviously, I think most people fall into that bracket. Most people have got a dream of where they want to be, what they want to earn, what they want out of life. But as we go back to what we were speaking earlier, they don't know how to get to that point. If they don't know how to get to that point, then they're never going to get to that point. And then you've got the doers. Now, the doers are the same as dreamers, but they do go out and do it. They educate themselves that little bit further. They see where they want to go, and they find a way to get there. Now, if those doers are just taxed to high heaven, then how are they going to have that want to get to those
the incentive
dreams? There's no point, and a lot of them will look at what others are getting and
Lisbon, Dubai,
exactly. And that's no good for this country, that's for sure. And if you end up you're probably in a similar position. I probably pay, out of every pound I earn, probably in some form of tax 65 pence of the pound, something like that.
I worked out with what I earn and then what I spend, it's 70 pence in the pound. There you go. That's outrageous.
It is outrageous.
I'm working 70% of my life for the government.
Yeah.
And so that makes me not want to draw money out of my companies because I don't want a massive, great big tax event.
Exactly.
Which clogs up the flow of money in the system.
Yeah. Yeah. It's ridiculous, isn't it? Absolutely ridiculous. And, I think there is an answer to it. The problem is the answer is probably too simple.
Flat rate tax?
Flat rate tax, 100% flat rate tax, because, as an entrepreneur and someone that earns a bit more than the average, then if I'm paying more percentage tax, how is that fair?
Yeah.
That is not fair. So...
but you earn more, so you should pay more.
Well, that's wrong, and the problem with it is as you go up the scales of the earning, the more you earn, the more money you've got to pay for someone to help you avoid to pay that tax. So you're not going to get it anyway.
No.
So if everyone's paying 20%, everyone's fair, everyone's the same. Now, you don't have to start that until the first 30,000 if you want. It doesn't matter. Your lower earners could be tax-free for a much bigger amount, a longer period. And then obviously you pay one amount from there on. And also VAT. Blimey, VAT, 20%. That is... they say it's
for what? And they call it value-added tax. Where's the value?
Well, there's not.
No.
And the thing is, if you've vatted everything, period, doesn't matter what it is, it makes life simpler, because in some of my businesses, some things are vatted, some aren't. Let's just vat everything, and let's just vat it all at 10%. It's not an extortionate amount. Those that can afford to buy the items that got VAT on are paying tax to the government. Those that can't afford the items aren't paying that VAT. That's fine. I think it's a fair tax from the amount that you can afford, but it's too big an amount.
Yeah.
So you're always going to have people trying to avoid it, bring things in, smuggle, shall we say, for want of a better word. VAT's a horrible tax that we all collect for the government and don't get paid for doing it.
Yeah, and the problem is that, but then there's corporation tax, then there's income tax, then there's national insurance. Oh,
Yeah.
wait a minute, where does the national insurance money go to? Oh, wait a minute, I can't get in the NHS. And then the pension contributions you have to make. It's just endless.
Yeah, it is endless.
And
I mean, actually, when you sit down and you work it all out, do you ever have that feeling of why do I bother?
Yeah.
Right. Now, as an entrepreneur...
For nearly 20 years, I've been an entrepreneur.
You shouldn't have that feeling. You should have the feeling of, oh, I'm really doing well.
Yeah.
I'm helping this country. I'm employing all these people, giving them enough money to pay their mortgages, buy their cars, do whatever they want to do. I'm being rewarded myself. Fantastic. I love living in this country.
Yeah.
That's how I think you should feel as an entrepreneur, and be praised by the people around you for that. You know, like, well done, you know, like, fantastic, he's doing well. So that means people that he's employing are doing well, and so on and so forth. You shouldn't feel the opposite to that as an entrepreneur.
Do you think there's any chance we could get back to this? Well, I hate to say this, Mark, but maybe it's a fantasy what you just said there, but because it just seems they're so over it. I mean, it feels to me more like a communist country than it does a capitalist country. Okay, I still own my properties. They're hopefully not going to take them off me. But, you know, the taxes are so high that they're taking a lot of that. How do we get back? Look, I know in some ways you might not want to stick your head up, but surely people like us have got to talk about this more and throw some ideas out there. Because, by the way, if the government came to me for some advice, which they wouldn't, I would openly talk to them and help them.
But that's the problem. You've just summed the problem up. They won't come to you because they know what you're going to say, and that's not part of their agenda. So why would they come to you?
But how are they going to grow the economy if they just keep biting the hands that feeds them?
Well, I think they've already had the hands, haven't they? The arms have gone, and it's starting to take a bit more of the torso the way they're going. So I don't know really what the answers are. I mean, I know what I would do. I mean, I'm sure if you got into power as Prime Minister, or if I got into power as Prime Minister, we'd probably only last 4 years.
Yeah, but we'd change things.
We'd try and change a bit, but of course, all those levels above, will they allow you to change those things?
Well, that's true.
You know,
and then also the problem is the voting, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you know what? Landlords are evil because there's 2.5 million landlords, and there's 70 million homeowners and renters or whatever.
Yeah. Have you ever wondered why it's only 4 years as well that they're in power?
Well, personally, I think it's far too short.
I think it's way too short.
Yeah, because a football manager, like Klopp, took him that long just to find his own squad in Liverpool.
Yeah.
And when Ferguson came into Man United, if I brought in a new MD, so why only?
But also, when he came into power, into
maybe because they're a puppet. I don't know.
He may well have known that he'd got at least 4 years to get it right. He didn't think, oh right, after 2 years, I'll give a little bit, you know, do a little bit what I can, and then I'll soften it all off, ready for another election. Then I'll do a little bit more, then I'll soften it off in 4 years. If you were in power for 10 years, you might actually have a chance.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, they say we've got choice, but we've got no choice. We've got A or B. Now, if we don't like A, we can vote in B. Funnily enough, when B gets in, we don't like them because they're doing the same.
We voted in A, and then who A made us Prime Minister, Liz Truss, and then Rishi, we weren't able to even choose that.
Yeah. It's a crazy situation, really, when you start thinking about it. And it's the perceived choice that you think you've got, the perceived freedom that you think you've got, and you haven't.
No. Hey, quick, before you go, if you want to watch the full, raw, uncut version of this episode in detail, no holds barred, you can watch it here. But before you go, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on.